What it do, YouTube? Crypto Tro back with another video, man. And today we're talking about Bitcoin. I know I don't talk a lot about Bitcoin on this channel, but today we're talking about Bitcoin and how you shouldn't let these big companies trick you out of your Bitcoin, make you sell your Bitcoin at cheap prices so they can scoop it up and absolutely get it at some of the lowest prices we probably will ever see Bitcoin ever hit, man. And that's what's going to happen in this bear market. A lot of people are going to sell their profits right now because Bitcoin has gone. You could have doubled your money if you would have been investing in last year. So November of last year, you could have invested, at 15,000. Right now, Bitcoin is at 30,000. And we seeing everything these big companies, these big money managers are doing right now. They're filing these ETFs. And I'm not saying that every single one of them are going to actually get it passed or actually be able to do ETFs, but it's something significant to see, trillion-dollar asset managers finally filing for Bitcoin. And I love to see that because it's actually bullish in my personal opinion. Now, a lot of people think of it like we don't want those type of people in the industry. We don't want money managers. We don't want trillion-dollar assets. I'm pretty sure you're saying that probably. But at the same time, I believe if you are buying Bitcoin, this is bullish for you just because they are going to increase the price of Bitcoin. And not just Bitcoin, but all cryptocurrencies, in my personal opinion. Now, Bitcoin is the front runner because Bitcoin has been around the longest, but Bitcoin is still a baby as well. It's only been around about 14 years, man. So still an infant right now. And a lot of people are setting themselves up for failure by, selling their Bitcoin, listening to what all of these news medias are saying, listen to what the government is saying, but not actually listening or watching, not listening. We don't listen. We want to watch the actions of the big money. We want to see what big money is doing, not what they're saying, but what they actually are doing. So today I'm going to talk about Bitcoin and why now is probably one of the best times to get a position in Bitcoin. So we're going to get into that. But before we do, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on those notifications, man. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I will greatly appreciate each and every single person who haven't subscribed to subscribe right now, man. Do me a favor, show your boy some love, subscribe to the channel. I like to keep you up to date on what's going on in the cryptocurrency space and in the Bitcoin space as well. So enough of that. Well, one last thing before we get straight into it. Gotta let you know I'm not a financial advisor. Everything I say today is pretty much my personal opinion, my personal take on things. So if you would like a financial advisor or like to invest in cryptos, please consult with the financial advisor before going too deep into the space because you can lose a lot of money in this space. This space is very volatile. This is a new asset class, man. Like I said, Bitcoin is still in its infancy. You gotta think of it like a child. Think of it as a person, right? So when you're 14 years old, you still do erratic things. You still, act like a kid. You want to be grown. You want to be a grown-up, but you still do childish things. And Bitcoin is very similar. It's still doing childish things as far as dropping very, very hard or going up in price very, very hard. And it can either go both ways. So you always want to consult with somebody before going too deep into it. But if we zoom out on Bitcoin, we see after those big dips, prices absolutely go up like crazy. And I love to see that. And that won't be around for very long, man. I'm telling you, once Bitcoin actually matures and becomes an adult, the prices and the volatility are not going to be there. And volatility, people can look at it as a bad thing, but I look at it as a good thing because that is where you're going to get those crazy gains in this space. You're going to get those gains on those crazy drop downs. Now, you always want to buy on red days. You never want to buy in the green because, if you buy in the green, that just means you're going to be exit liquidity for someone else. You always want to buy it at the cheapest price possible. But just saying or seeing how Bitcoin has grown over time it has done some great appreciation throughout those 14 years, and those volatile spikes are not going to last a very, very long time. It might be 10 years, it might even be 15 years, but I'm telling you, it's going to come a time where Bitcoin is going to mature and those spikes will no longer exist. So use volatility as your friend in this space. So enough of that, man. Let's get straight into it. What are we talking about? Crypto Tro. Let's go, man. I know you're like, Tro, let's talk about it, man. You keep talking about all of this financial advisor nonsense, and we don't care. We're Deegans. We're going to invest anyway. So let's get into it. What are we talking about? Bitcoin. Let's go, baby. Bitcoin is at $30,402 today. And if we see just a year ago, if you would have got in a year ago, you would be up at least 51% on your money. And even if you would have got in not just a year, but say if you were dollar cost averaging for that year, you would be up. Or if you started buying in November, you would actually be up almost real or right at 100%. So a lot of people are cashing out right now. I think, it would probably be best if you put a lot of money in, a lot of liquidity in, to probably get some of that money out, just because you are 100% up on your money. But as far as long-term goes, you want to have enough money and cash flow to have or be able to buy Bitcoin at small amounts. Always dollar cost average. Never just put all of your money in at one position. Dollar cost average. Have a bag where you can just put in, small amounts, whatever that may be for you. Everybody's small amounts are different, but dollar cost average on those red days. So we can see market cap is at 590 billion, and pretty much Bitcoin is half of cryptocurrency's entire market cap. And of course, Bitcoin is number one. We see volume is down 6%, so not too bad. And 13 billion has been pumped on Bitcoin today, and that's actually coming in at number two. So love to see Bitcoin doing what it do, but let's get to the good stuff. We see on Cointelegraph, Bitcoin speculators send 35K BTC to exchanges and new elation inflow. So this is just showing signs of people selling. So Bitcoin speculative exchange moves intensifying. So we see BTC price action stalling at 30,000 is prompting a rethink when it comes to buyers who have turned a profit this month. In particular, short-term holders, those entities hodling funds for 155 days or less, are becoming increasingly keen sellers. Monitoring inflows to exchange wallets, Glassnode revealed a clear spike in funds being put up for trade originating for short-term holders, which correspond to Bitcoin's more speculative investor cohorts. So the recent elation in Bitcoin price action has intense and increased in short-term holder interaction with exchange. So a lot of people are sending their Bitcoin to the exchange to sell, and I'm not going to say that's a bad idea right now, because I do believe Bitcoin will come down in the short term. Now, if we're thinking long term, it doesn't matter what the price of Bitcoin is. You're buying, you're stacking, even on days when prices are at 30,000, up 100% from November, you're still buying. I know a lot of people still buying just HODL Bitcoin forever. Like, they not selling. And if you go to it, you will see how the short-term holders are selling, but long-term holders are really still buying or waiting to that dip to buy again. So I'm not saying buy 30K. That's not what I'm saying. You want to buy when prices are low, but you don't necessarily want to sell your Bitcoin. And here's why. So these are the high-profile spot Bitcoin ETFs applications currently in play. So Bitcoin exchange traded funds have sprung up around the world, but the US and SEC continues to stonewall proposals for a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, if you don't know what an ETF is, an ETF is pretty much a publicly traded investment vehicle that tracks the value of an underlying asset. In this case, it is Bitcoin. So advocates for a Bitcoin ETF argue that the complexities of exchanges, crypto wallets, and private keys still present a daunting barrier to entry into the crypto space for newcomers. A Bitcoin ETF will enable these investors to gain exposure to Bitcoin without actually having to hold your own cryptocurrency. Now, Bitcoin ETFs have sprung up around the world in Canada, Brazil, and Dubai. And in October 2021, ProShares Bitcoin Futures ETF launched on the New York Stock Exchange. However, to date, the SEC has rejected every application for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which offers direct exposure to Bitcoin rather than future contracts. The SEC has repeatedly cited the potential for market manipulation among cryptocurrency traders among its concerns. And that's BS because the SEC, they talk all of that, but stocks are manipulated. You can't say that stocks aren't manipulated. We know the people, who have big positions manipulate the prices of stocks all the time. So what the SEC is saying is straight up BS in my personal opinion. So now we go to the bullish information, man. And that's why I say you don't want to sell your Bitcoin to these big money managers because they want to flood the market. They're going to push price down even further. I'm telling you, price is going to go down from that 100%. Prices are going to go under 30,000. I know it's a lot of bullish people out there. I'm bullish as well, but just being real, up 100%, people are going to sell, man. It's going to be naturally that people sell, and that's when the big institutions come in and scoop up those cheap prices. So the first person or the first entity applying for the ETF is BlackRock. So on June 15th, the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, with over $9 trillion in assets under management as of Q1 2023, shocked the TradeFi world when it filed an application for a Bitcoin spot ETF. Like I said, $9 trillion under assets, man. $9 trillion. This filing proposed Coinbase as the crypto custodian and spot market data provider, with BNY Mellon as cash custodian. So we saw Coinbase. We saw how SEC filed this lawsuit against Coinbase. And that's crazy because Coinbase is on the stock market. So how did you allow them to be on the stock market and you're filing a lawsuit against them and pretty much telling them that they are selling all this type of BS and they're going against the grain, but they ask you what they need to do to comply with whatever the SEC was trying to say they weren't complying with. And just by getting listed on the stock exchange and then coming back and saying this is absolutely mind-blowing to me. But that's the type of games these people play. These people, they want to get in, man. They want to get in and see how they can make some money. See how they can, pretty much legally extort these crypto exchanges. So that is what's going on. But at the same time, we got to see what's happening underneath the surface and what these big money managers are doing. So we see BlackRock has filed the ETF. Then we see, according to Bloomberg senior ETF analyst Eric, the investment product, which is technically a trust, is functionally the real deal, a spot market ETF. So something I like to point out is BlackRock is 575-1. So that means they won 575 cases and only lost one case. And that's wow. So that's almost 99% win rate. And it's either two things with the SEC, with them filing this. They're either going to get it passed, or if they don't get it passed, it's just they know that they won't get it passed, but it's showing that these companies want Bitcoin, and if they don't get it passed, it's like a jab at the SEC. Like, we're going directly at you. We got $9 trillion under management. You can't stop us. That's what BlackRock is pretty much saying. So you see, BlackRock's ETF filing was quickly praised by former Barclays CEO Bob Diamond. It also inspired WisdomTree, Invesco, and Valerie to make fresh applications to the SEC while helping pump Bitcoin's price above 30,000. So that's why we see the prices of Bitcoin absolutely skyrocket right now, just because all of these companies are coming out the woodworks and filing these Bitcoin ETFs like crazy. And we love to see that. Now, prices will drop, in my personal opinion. I'm not going to lie to you. Not saying that prices will continue to go up. They maybe do, but I believe they will go down in the short term, and we will see around the Bitcoin happening in 2024, prices absolutely skyrocket. So we see number 2 is WisdomTree, and pretty much they launched on Switzerland's 6th stock exchange back in 2019, and it joins the ranks of U.S. Bitcoin ETF hopefuls in March 2021, filing an S-1 with the SEC that proposed listing shares in the WisdomTree Bitcoin Trust on this Cboe exchange. Then Invesco ETF. And then we see Valerie Investments ARK Investment even filed an ETF as well. So a lot of companies with a lot of money under management are filing for Bitcoin ETFs right after BlackRock, because pretty much if you say yes to BlackRock, how can you say no to all these other ones? And then if you say no to everybody, that's just going to absolutely kill every standpoint the SEC has, man. And like I said, don't sell your Bitcoin. I'm not telling you don't take profits. You always want to take profits. You always want to take some profits, especially if it's life-changing type of money. But the companies want you to sell so they can get in a lower price and then make you buy this BS ETF. You want to hold your own cryptos. I'm not going to lie to you. I am not buying a Bitcoin ETF because I am really in the blockchain and crypto space, and we are all about self-custody. And if you don't know what self-custody is, it's owning your own assets, having the assets on a hardware wallet where you control your own assets. Buying an ETF is just pretty much buying the price of Bitcoin on paper, but you don't actually own Bitcoin. And this is kind of big, if you are like a family investor or, something similar like that. If you have a family firm where you truly don't know how to operate the blockchain and things like that, I will tell you, learn as fast as possible. But some people want to take the easy way out. I understand that. You just buy based on the price. But if you are a retail investor like you and me, we want to actually own our Bitcoin. We want to actually hold our Bitcoin. This is bullish for Bitcoin because this will push price up, but it goes against everything Bitcoin stands for, and that is self-custody, owning one's own assets. So that's my video for today. Just letting you know, don't sell your Bitcoin to these huge institutions, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. Own your own Bitcoins. Don't buy the ETF. I'm not saying don't buy Bitcoin. You want to buy Bitcoin and put it in a hardware wallet and store it yourself and have self-custody. But you don't want to just truly hop into these ETFs because you truly don't own Bitcoin and you are only buying a price. And the price will appreciate, don't get me wrong, but you only own it on paper. It's something about having self-custody of these products, of these assets, that it's just what crypto and Bitcoin is all about. So that's my video for today. Didn't want to make it as long as it is, but I had to let you know. I just had that in my spirit to put out this information. So Crypto Tro, that's my video for today. I'm out of here.